right, Shalom.
Shalom.
You hear us?
Got the sound. We checking. We gonna get started in a minute. Just making sure everything good. The sound. Brothers can hear. You put the title up.
Yeah, the title up.
Okay. All right. So first and foremost, as always, we're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakodash.
Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, the Supreme. Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son, who you know ignorantly as Jesus Christ. All right. Ba'ashem Makakodash is the name of the Holy Spirit, and it's the inspiration. All right, the breath of life given unto us from the Most High, to Lord willing edify those that can have received this understanding, man. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to you, sincere and humble brothers, preaching this word with fear and trembling. Shalom to the believers who subscribe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, we got a lesson, of course, going into again the Gentiles, and this is a great bulk of the work in the ministry of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that we are ordained to preach. Okay, so we just finished class. Of course, we've been going through the book of Acts quite methodically, real slow, you know, and taking our time because it's a very a heavy chapter, a heavy book rather, you know, and we getting into it to really get the understanding of what was going on, which the book of Acts goes into the Acts of the Apostles, all right, and it was a whole spiritual journey that the apostles had to carry out, and it pretty much acts as a summary. A lot of it is dealing with Apostle Paul and his duty to the Gentiles to go out and preach the gospel to the Gentiles. But yet, the thing about the Gentiles was they were Israelites. They were Israelites who were going after the customs, going after the ways of the Greeks. All right. Now, we're going to prove that, and as you see the title, we're going to start with that precept, and we're going to show you how this ministry is still working today, you know, because when you sum it all up, we all was Gentiles. Until you come back into the fold, you are a Gentile. And the word Gentile just means heathen, which we're going to get. Go ahead, Yakanan. We're going to open it up.
This is Acts 21 and 19. It says, and when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things the Most High had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry.
Right. So this is talking about Apostle Paul coming back to the elders, right, and telling them what the work that he had been doing in the spirit among the Gentiles. All right, through what? The power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and said unto him, thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe.
Right. So when the apostles, the elders, all right, Peter and the rest of the apostles heard the work that Paul had been doing, and the souls that had been converted and brought back out of that heathenistic way of life, that Gentile state of mind, they said, call Allah, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Just the same we do as when somebody converts, if we're on the highways and hedges, or, you know, somebody comes into the fold and receives the word.
Right.
All right. They come out of that Gentile state of mind and that heathenistic way of life. We glorify Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's what they did. Go ahead.
And they are all zealous of the law, and they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs.
Right. So as Paul was doing this ministry, of course there was opposition, right? The opposition was who? The wicked Jews. who at the time was very angry with Paul because Paul used to be one of them, right? Paul was one of the ones that was persecuting the Jews because he didn't understand the mystery of the Gentiles until Yahushua knocked him off that high horse, humbled him, and opened his eyes and showed him the light of the ministry. Stop. Let's go. Give me Isaiah 60, Anna. See, the whole work of the ministry that Paul was doing, which Paul was the authority to do, right? That's who Yahushua gave the authority to teach the Gentiles to. Paul, right? But he got it from Yahushua because he didn't know. So Isaiah 60.
Isaiah 60 verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come.
Arise, shine, for thy light is come. Now, when Apostle Paul was on his way to Damascus, what happened? A light shined and knocked him off the horse, which that light represented Yahushua. This same light is what we're reading in Isaiah 60. Light represents understanding. Go ahead.
And the glory of the Lord is rise upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people.
Gross darkness was covering Israel because darkness represents what? Wickedness, confusion. How did they get into that Gentile state of mind? Through wickedness, confusion from those that was ruling over us. The Greeks, Antiochus, all right? The Ptolemies, all right? That happened during that Hellenization period of the Greeks. That was a dark time for us. Go ahead.
Like Isaiah 62. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee, and the Gentiles.
What is the Lord's glory? His word. Go ahead.
And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising.
And the Gentiles shall come to the light. Who are those Gentiles? The Israelites. You got a precept?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This is 2 Corinthians, let's get straight to the point. 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them.
Yep. So the glory, all right, of the gospel being that what? Salvation is for Israel, no matter where they may be, no matter what state of mind they are in. If they can receive this understanding, all right, then they're Israelite, all right? Because no one other than Israel can receive it.
Yep.
But at the same essence, there's Israelites that can't receive it. They're going to stay in their Gentile state of mind, right? And who are those people? Tamaya, give me Romans 9:6. Who are those Israelites that are going to stay in the Gentile state of mind?
This is Romans chapter 9 verse 6. Not as through the word of the Most High have taken none effect.
The glory, go ahead.
For they are not all Israel, which are of Israel.
Those that are not of Israel, they are the heathens. They are the Gentiles. They are the ones that's not going to get it, man. You see? That's why he said they are not all of Israel that are of Israel. And that's what you saw with Timothy's father. Timothy's father was a Hellenist, right? Which, even though he chose to carry on the Greek customs, he really was an Israelite by blood. But with the Lord, if you don't hearken and embrace and commit to his word, which is his glory, you're looked at as a heathen, man. Get that word Gentile in Isaiah 60, Quran, real quick. Get that word,
Hey,
Gentile.
hey, Tazamaya
Go
made
ahead.
me think of the Jake from yesterday, which through the spirit we felt like he was
He's a Jake.
but you know he couldn't understand the word though, you know, cause he in that Gentile state of mind. He too
He was
Americanized.
in gross darkness.
He was in gross darkness.
Yeah.
You know, so he just couldn't get it. But through the spirit, he was fighting so hard. You know, he had the spirit to, you know, want to get it, want to accept it, but he couldn't, because the way he been trained, the way he been taught, is that heathenistic. You know what I'm saying? Customs of this way, man. So he couldn't get it. He gonna stay in that Gentile state of mind, lest the Lord bring him into His marvelous light, lest the Lord, you know, open his mind up to be able to, you know, come out of that.
Right, and that's why I say not as though the word of the Lord has taken none effect, because the Lord's word, it says, going to prosper in the thing whereunto He sent it. When you read in what's that, Isaiah 55 and 11, right? You know, it's because that's why he couldn't get it, because it say wisdom is too high for a fool. He say my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways, and the way that this man was accustomed to living was just like Timothy's father, after the ways of the Greeks, after the ways of the heathens. So he was being treated like a heathen by the word, because if you don't know the word of the Lord, if you don't hear the word of the Lord, you're counted as a heathen. So get that, we got the word Gentile?
Gone. This is Gentile in the Blue Letter Bible. It's Goe. And Strong's definition, Gentile or heathen.
Heathen. And the Lord has no dealings with heathens. Even if His own people are among the heathens, acting like the heathens, least they come into the marvelous light, He's going to destroy them. All heathens will be destroyed, Israelites and all, right? Because you have to know, one, that you're an Israelite, because being an Israelite comes with obligations. It comes with a standard that you have to obey and abide in. Just like the Lord is bound to His word, if you're an Israelite, you're bound to His word, because you are a prince, a prince of the power, a son of God. So you're not counted as His if you're not acting as such. Matthew 18 and 17, Yashimaya. And I still want you to go back to Isaiah 60, because when you read in Isaiah 60, there's two Gentiles in Isaiah 60. There's the natural Gentiles, all right, and there's the Israelites who became Gentiles through falling after the ways of the natural Gentiles. Go ahead.
Matthew 18 and 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen
Read it
man.
again.
Say, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican.
Why? Because he neglects to hear the church. All right? Where does the Lord's word reside? Within the church, within the temple. Who gives the word? The prophets, the men of the Lord. All right? She says, surely the Lord will do nothing but He revealed His secrets to His servants, the prophets.
Yeah.
All right? Another word for a prophet is a preacher. So if we're preaching the light, the gospel unto you, and you can't receive it, it's one or two things. Either you are a heathen, straight up, or you are an Israelite and living after the ways of the heathens, and the Lord did not put the word in you to receive it in this time, right? Because you have to bear witness with the word.
Hellenist.
You a Hellenist. You a Gentile.
You a Gentile.
You a Greek. Whether you Omega, Psi Phi, Kappa, Alpha, you ain't in no fraternity. You still a part of it. If you are just a straight up African American, you know, if you're not abiding in the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, even if you're an Israelite, you're still counted as a heathen.
Right.
There's heathens even amongst the circumcision. that know they're Israelites. See, this gospel, it goes deep. There's levels to the Lord's infinite understanding. And people think that they can just stay on a base level when you dealing with this word and trying to teach it. That's why the apostles always say, no, you got to grow and you have to come up and keep growing, because the Lord requires that. All right, for you to be a teacher. And the only way you can please the Most High is if you what? Feed the sheep. Read that again.
Matthew 18 and 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican.
So if any Israelite by blood, right, which this is the only way you can be an Israelite, by the way, right? But to be a true Israelite, you have to be an Israelite in spirit also. You have to be coming after the righteousness of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and living according to it. So any Israelite who does not receive and hear this word, they are a heathen. They're not even looked at in the eyes of the Lord as an Israelite. You are a Gentile. So how did we become Gentiles? Go to
First Maccabees
1 and 11, and then another brother go to Second Maccabees. I want to say it's the 4th chapter. But go ahead, bro.
This is First Maccabees 1 and verse 11. It says, in those days went...
Bro, we're going to start at 10.
Okay, First Maccabees 1 and 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 130th and 7th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So this is talking about, it said the wicked root, right? So this is the man that brought forth gross darkness, all right, upon Israel, Antiochus, or as we say, Antiochus a lot, right? Go ahead.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Let us go and make a covenant with the Gentiles, the heathen, right? So when you make a covenant with the heathen, what are you doing? You're breaking your covenant with the Most High.
Yep.
What'd you say?
I said with BC.
Yeah, he got the Deuteronomy. Thou shalt make no covenant.
I got the Exodus.
Well, it's in more than
Okay.
it's in the law. Period. It's constantly we're constantly warned not to make no covenants with the heathens. Go ahead, real quick.
Jeremiah 17:4, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever.
So this was the curse, right? And he told us how it was gonna happen. Through serving our enemies, we were gonna lose our heritage. We were gonna become likened unto Gentiles. All right? So when you go and make covenants with the heathen, what are you doing? You breaking the law. Go ahead, Op.
This is Exodus 23 and 32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them nor their gods. Verse 33. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make these sins against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be snared unto them.
If you serve after their gods and go after their idols and go after their ways, it's going to be a trap for you. Because that's why Timothy's father couldn't come back. He was trapped in that Greek way of life. He was trapped in that state of mind. You see? Because you go too far, you can't come back.
Yeah, no coming back.
But it's certain ones that the Lord has preserved. They gonna come back. They gonna come back, and that's the elect, right?
I got a very quick one.
Go ahead.
This Psalms 106 and 35, but will mingle among the heathen and learn their works.
were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. So when we learn the works of the heathen, we became just like the heathen in the eyes of the Lord. And he can't say he can't look upon wickedness, right? So unless the only way the Lord can see you, and the only way the light of the Lord can shine unto you is if you repent and turn back. So they were incapable of doing that because of all the years and years and years and years of these covenants with the heathen. You know. Go ahead, Karab.
This is 1 Corinthians 12:1.
The Spirit.
Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
So who led them? Wicked Jews. Our own people led us astray.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, just like right now, man. You got Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all these coons, man, leading Jacob straight, man. Instead of telling you to, shave your beard off, go get you a good job. Get you a good job. Go vote. All these things, man, are just leading Jake further into the darkness, man.
Hey,
to the dark side.
No new thing under the sun.
Yep.
Right? So let's get second Maccabees 6, and we're going to start at the top.
Brother got it?
I think Tamaya getting it.
Oh.
And then from there, I want to go back, unless brothers probably going to get some precepts, because we're going to read from 6, verse 1 down to 6.
Alright. This is second Maccabees 6, verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the law of their fathers.
To compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers. This is the Hellenization process. Go ahead.
And not live after the laws of the Most High.
And not live after the laws of the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call the temple of Jupiter Olympic.
And to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius. See? So they took the holy temple, profaned it, and then named it after an idol. Jupiter Olympius, man. Carried away unto these dumb idols. Go ahead.
And his name Garzim.
Garzim.
Garzim of Jupiter, defender of strangers, as they desired that dwelt in the place.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3. The coming of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
The coming of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, right? To the ones that was actually trying to stay loyal. See, you had to understand there still was some resistance. There was wicked Jews, but then there was those that was still trying to be faithful to the Lord. Now they don't even got a place to worship. They don't even got a temple. The holy temple is being called Jupiter Olympius. Go ahead.
Verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot.
This is our place of worship. The temple is being polluted. Go ahead.
And revealing by the Gentile who...
Now, which Gentiles is this talking about? The actual heathens. See? But even though it was talking about the actual heathens had took over our temple, you had our own people who were in cahoots with these people.
Making a covenant.
Making a covenant with them. When you make a covenant, it means to join together, to come to an agreement, to be one with.
Precept, Hawk.
Go ahead, Op.
Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
Woo!
Man.
That's plain, to the point. You hear that? Read it again.
Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
One more time.
For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
Pick back up in 2 Maccabees 6 and 4.
This is 2 Maccabees 6 and 4. For the temple was filled with riot and revealing by the Gentiles, who defiled with harlots and had to do with women within the circuits of the holy places.
So it's explaining all the abominations that were going on in the temple. You know, riots. It said reveling. It says they dallied with harlots. So they was having sex in the temple with harlots. All right. It said it had to do. Go ahead, finish Salaki.
And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane things which the law forbidden.
The altar was filled with profane things which the law forbid. Go ahead. Now this is the key point.
Verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself to all to be a Jew.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So it had became against the law to even profess yourself to be a Jew, to even claim your heritage as a Jew. It became against the law. So what do you think happened? If you stood boldly and say you was a Jew, what do you think the penalty was? Death.
Shit, if I can add, look at today's society with Nick Cannon, the Kodak Blacks, you know, they losing their shows. Kendrick Lamar, his last album was down, man.
And that was 5 years ago. 2017. That's when that album came out.
Yep. Look, just claim your heritage. If you're a so-called celebrity in this society, you know, LeBron James,
Carmelo Anthony.
However it may be, say you're an Israelite, man. Them little heads gonna come after you, man.
You see what's gonna happen to your well-being, your life, your
life.
Your lifestyle. You know, see, your livelihood. That's the word. See what's gonna happen to your livelihood if you profess yourself to be a Jew. It's the same thing going on, man. You know. Go ahead.
This is John 17 and 4. Even thyself.
Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Come.
Jeremiah,
Colin, and read it again.
Jeremiah 17 and 4. Even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage.
Yep.
That I gave thee. I will cause thee to serve thy enemies.
He said Jeremiah. He said he sanctified Jeremiah and made him ordained him a prophet. So even we fell, the men of the Lord fell away, man. You see? And that's why when you go into the time when the Lord came on the scene, majority of them Jews at that time was wicked because they were the same ones that made the covenants with the heathen during the times of the Greeks. How were they able to keep their heritage? Right? Because they were secretly still, they knew. You know?
Yep.
They knew, and at the same time, you deal with you had a remnant, you know, of course, that scattered and got away. So that's how we were able to be preserved. The Lord was scattering us, you know, and preserving us from certain times. Every time we would come back. In every age we would come back, right? Just like we came back in this time in America. We didn't know that we was Israelites, you know, but the word came through. That's the light unto the Gentiles. Go back to Isaiah 60, and then brother, give me Isaiah, Yakanan, give me Isaiah 11 and 10, and we're gonna read through 12.
Pick back up at 3.
Yeah, pick back up at 3.
Isaiah 60 and 3. And the Gentiles should come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of the rising. Lift up thy eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons should come from far. So like it said they come to thee. Thy sons should come from far, and thy daughters should be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and their hearts should fill and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea should be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles should come unto thee.
Right. So this is talking about after the light This is a summary of what's going to happen to us as Gentiles. We're going to come to the light, and we're going to reclaim through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua our position as Israelites, right? We're going to be redeemed back to our position as Israelites, and then the natural Gentiles are going to be into subjection under us. Because when you read here in Isaiah 60 and verse 5, right, it says, the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto us. This is talking about the natural Gentiles. So when you're reading in the scriptures, you have to have the spirit to discern between when it says Gentiles, if it's talking about Israelites, or if it's actually talking about the other nations, the true heathens, right? So that was one example of that. So we're gonna go to Isaiah 11. All right, and then you got that
10.
11 and 10, and we're gonna read through 12.
All right, this is Isaiah 11 and verse 10. It says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people.
This is talking about Yahweh Shah.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
To it shall the Gentiles seek.
To it shall the Gentiles seek. Right? The light, they gonna seek after the light. Go ahead.
And his rest shall be glorious.
Which the light is what Yahweh Shai shone on Apostle Paul. See? And you get these Christians and these people who really don't have the spirit to understand how the spirit worked. They stumble. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and Salakia. And
Lord,
from Pathros.
Go ahead.
And from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea.
Now, that's verse 11, right?
Right.
Read it again.
And it shall come to pass in that day that
This
the
is
Lord...
prophecy. It's going to come to pass. This is prophecy. You got the precept to that in...
Acts.
Yeah.
I get
Go ahead, Salaki.
And it shall come to pass that in that day the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
It say again, the second time, right? He gonna recover his people. He gonna continually deliver us, right? Which the ultimate deliverance is gonna come in this time, right? The second Exodus, right? That's the ultimate deliverance, right? But then even in that time, when Paul was on the scene, he was using Apostle Paul. That was a part of his hand. That was an extension of the Lord's arm to us to come back, right? And it's telling you everywhere we were scattered. Go ahead.
It says, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
He say who he gonna bring? The outcast of Israel. How was Israel casted out? Neither was it lawful for him to profess himself to be a Jew. These heathens casted us out of the temple, took over the temple, and told us that it is not lawful for you to profess yourself to be a Jew. That's the history.
That's the mystery.
But the Lord, and that's the mystery.
That's the mystery.
And then the Lord said, what? He's going to redeem us. He's going to recover us.
Yeah.
All right, the dispersed of Israel, all right, the dispersed of Judah from the what?
Four corners of the earth.
From the four corners of the earth.
That's prophecy.
That's prophecy. How do we get to the four corners of the earth? Hold it. I know you got Acts. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 64.
Man,
And then Tamayo, give me Ezekiel 25 and 28. This is.
If I can add,
Go ahead. I'll
let's let
speak.
you know, the Israelites, we've been scattered amongst all the four corners of earth. That's why they don't understand all kindreds and tongues and nations, man.
Right.
You see, but Israel was amongst that, man. Got on different tongues that, Israelites speak other languages like Chinese, Chinese, Japanese, whatever language they are,
Yep, it's an Israelite through the Spirit, man. That Romans 8 and 16, the Spirit itself bear witness.
25.
So when you see an Israelite, man, he stand out, man. The Lord say we the salt.
Can't fake the funk.
He can't fake it, man. He can't fake Jake, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta go out.
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
All right, so we just gave you that prophecy, all right, in Maccabees being fulfilled. That prophecy was fulfilled during the time of the Maccabees. That prophecy is really still in effect today because our people are still doing that. And our people are still scattered. He has not yet fully gathered us back. But we in that process. Go ahead, Tamaya.
This is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 25. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel from the people among they are scattered.
Say what?
From among the people who they are scattered.
One more time.
From among the people whom they are scattered.
Go ahead.
And shall be sanctified in them the light of the heathen.
The light.
Salaki, the sight.
Oh, in the sight.
Salaki.
Yeah, shall be sanctified.
In the sight of the heathen.
Shall be sanctified in them in the sight of the heathen. Go ahead.
Then shall they dwell in the land that I have given.
And you know what's crazy? When you read in Acts what Apostle Paul was bringing them back, when he was doing the ministry, he was working the works of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to bring the Gentiles back into the fold. The heathens that they were being sanctified in the midst of was actually Jews. The wicked Jews that knew they were Jews were really heathens in the sight of the Lord. That's why I say, I came into my own and my own received me not. So if you don't receive the Lord, what do we read in Matthew the 18th chapter? You are a heathen. Even if you know you're a Jew.
You a heathen.
If we ask you what the MOTB is, and we ask you according to the scriptures, the mystery of the Gentiles, and all you can say is they all look like black men, they all black.
Everybody
You really a heathen.
Yeah.
Cause that's why you gotta have 100% truth, man.
That's right.
You gotta have 100% truth as it pertains to receiving salvation. Everything we cover is about salvation. Now we go into history and we get into the things of the law, but really what we get into is the weightier matters, the things that pertain to salvation. But guess what? The small things matter too, because it say, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So you go off on something small, eventually it's going to lead up to something big.
Yep.
That's what you see with these other camps.
Yep.
We ain't going to say no names. The Issa, the Issu, Salaki.
UPK.
Go ahead, Salaki, let me stop playing.
This is the book of Isaiah 8 and 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there's no light in them.
There's no light in them, no understanding.
Yep.
Right? They have no vision. They can't see it. And that's ultimately because the Most High has blinded them.
Yep.
Right?
So
So he either blinds you from the light or he opens your eyes to the light. Either way, his wrath and his mercy is the same. This word. This word is his mercy, this word is his wrath.
Hey, brother in Chicago, I always say that too. Murph, he say, hey, the light can be either a beacon into you or a blinder. He could work both ways.
Work both
man.
ways.
Like I said,
I need you to finish that Ezekiel though.
John the 3rd chapter, lest their deeds could be reproved. If not, we would say they hated the light because their works are evil. Go ahead.
And just start back at the top and read straight through, no interruption.
This is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 25. Thus said the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel from among whom I have scattered, and I shall be sanctified in them in the sight of the heathen, then shall they dwell in their land that I have given to my servant Jacob.
So we still in that process, cause we ain't in that land yet. We still being gathered, right? What's the land that He gave unto us is what? The land of Israel, the land of Canaan, really, right? Which that was the curse on Canaan. You know, hey, you gonna get your land took, really. But it always was our land, really, you know. But at the end of the day, this process, all right, of the light shining unto us is this word resonating with our spirit, and then everyone who doesn't resonate with this word, it proves who they are, right? And how the Lord looks at it, even if you are Israelite by blood, if it don't resonate with you, you are heathen. Go ahead, Doc.
This is Baruch 4:2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
Yep. Go ahead. You had some? Okay. Go ahead. Now you can get the account in Acts that pretty much is going back to Isaiah 11. Go ahead, Doc.
It's Acts 2, I'm going to start at 7. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how
Are not all these which speak, what it say, Galatians?
Galileans, Acts 2 and 7.
Galileans.
Galileans.
Come.
Acts 2 and 8. And how hear we every man in our own tongue when we were born? Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers in the Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and in Cappadocia,
Cappadocia, it's all good.
and Pontus, and Asia, and Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and in Egypt, and the parts of Libya, about Corinth, and strangers of Rome, Jews and Palestinians, Cretes, and